Hey folks, so as the last final note for this unit, I wanted to take a minute to talk about recursive data structures. So we've talked about recursion so far, mainly in terms of actual program code. So we have some function that calls itself, right? It calls itself again and again and again until it reaches some base case. But in addition, what we can think about doing is having recursive data. So looking at the screen here, what I have is I have a class called thing, right? This is my whole class here. And thing is a class that contains thing as well, okay? Thing contains thing. This is a recursive class, okay? And this is, well, it's kind of a common thing. Basically, right, and I've hinted at this already, right? Lists are recursive data structures, right? Anytime I have a data structure that basically is built from itself, which is most things, so lists, trees, right? We'll spend some time on trees later on. All these things where I have this property where it's like, well, I'm building them from themselves because it's something that's like, well, it's like a list. I don't know how many elements are going to be in advance, and so in order to have the flexibility where I can grow it, I need to have basically a place to add on to it, add on to it, add on to it, and add on to it. The easiest way to do that, right, is to basically duplicate the same thing over and over and over again, okay? So this is kind of a very, very typical thing that people do, right? This is kind of the fundamental idea, right, of list-based structures, is providing that recursion. Note that recursion basically is made possible by the use of references. So when I have these little arrows here, what that's basically saying is like, you know, thing one, right? This picture somehow, right, is showing a linked list of like 3 things all nested up together. Thing one like has a reference to thing 2. Thing 2 has a reference to thing 3, which means like, well, if I'm at a thing, I can get to a new thing. If I'm at the new thing, I can get to another thing, new thing, right? It's like, well, I'm going to kind of go along there, right? And I'm going to always have a way to kind of move forward and do something else or see something new. But every time I do that, I'm still going to be seeing the same thing over and over again, right? So it's thing 1, 2, and 3. They're all instances of the thing class. They just have different stuff inside of them, okay? But yeah, so just kind of an observation for you guys, right? Data structures a lot of times, right, because they have this, potential to be, any size. We make them, we define them recursively, right, so that I can have, a list of lists, right, or a list is, a node followed by another list, right. Just some sort of a sense of like a way for me to build things up, right. Structurally, I want to be able to expand. All right, so that's all I got for this module. In the next module, we'll start talking more about data abstraction, which will be a little bit of review, but also some new concepts for you guys.